Well, up until September of 2014, I really thought I was in charge of my life. But I discovered after symptoms of a buzzing feeling in my arm and going to bed with that feeling and waking up without any feeling at all on my left side, I went to the emergency room and was told I had a 98% blockage in the right carotid artery, needed immediate surgery, and was moved to Phoenix for that surgery. During the surgery's recovery time, I had a second stroke, and they took me back into surgery and removed a large clot that had taken itself to home in the surgery site. The next day I was informed I was to be transferred to a rehab unit in Phoenix. Well, knowing my family was here in Kingman and that my home was here in Kingman, my moral support was in Kingman, and physicians who knew me were in Kingman, I was pretty adamant, even with very good drugs, that I was going home. So I came and was admitted here to the acute rehab department at 11 o'clock at night. The first morning when a therapist came to meet with me, introduced himself and told me he was going to be my therapist, and yes, indeed, I would walk again. He sat me up on the bed, and like a Raggedy Ann doll, I promptly fell over. I just simply could not even, my brain had lost the ability to know where upright was. My bubble in my level was broken. And they taught me how to do that over a couple of days, taught me how to do my own personal care. And in total, I spent 7 weeks here. I had speech therapy in outpatient therapy after I left, but while here, I had both physical therapy and occupational therapy to teach me to do the more functional things to take care of myself, which was probably the most important thing to me, to learn to be self-sufficient in my personal care. One of the hardest things I experienced was the helplessness, the needing of help, the realizing there were so many simple, everyday things that I had done without a single thought that I no longer could do even if I thought about them. And I had to invent a new process, and they gave me the tools for that. They gave me these tools how to trigger myself and how to reinvent the ways that I did things. If it didn't work one way, they taught me a new way to do it. With skill and humor, and we laughed and we cried some days. The staff here was awesome. I just was amazed at people who loved their job. Everyone I met here seemed to come here absolutely anxious to get here, to see what they could do that was helpful, and both mentally and physically. They were as good to my family, who they treated like it was their other patient. They were kind to them. They were professionally very informative to them. They spoke to them in language they could understand and deal with. The staff was wonderful. I just can't say enough good things about the staff. I still come back to see them every year. If I'm in this building for any kind of a meeting, I go upstairs and see who's still here. The importance of having my family close by absolutely was a big consideration in holding on to the decision to come back here. I knew it was going to be important before I even got here. After I got here, it was even more important than I thought. I firmly believe that at least 50% of my ability and speed of rehab and the willingness to get through exhausting days was because at the end of the day I knew I would see one or more family members, or even my dog who came to visit me in the front lobby one day. And it was just, it gave me the mental energy to keep up the physical hard work, because it was as much a mental process of waking up in the morning and deciding, looking at the board with the list of things you were going to do, yes, I can do this. And it'll be exciting to tell my daughter tonight what I've accomplished and what I've learned to do. I think it was, for me personally, it was extremely important to be near family and friends. One of my favorite comments that I brag about medical care is, doctors did save my life. They absolutely did. I give them full credit. But the rehab department and the outpatient rehab department, the acute rehab department, they saved my lifestyle.